morning, everybody. It's time to read. Welcome to Discovery Reading. We have a fun topic today. We're going to be talking about camouflaging animals and some behaviors that they do that also help them camouflage in the wild. So I'll tell you what books we're going to be reading today. We're going to be reading How to Hide a Crocodile and Other Reptiles by Ruth Hellers. And we're also going to be reading How to Hide a Butterfly and Other Insects by Ruth Hellers as well. So again, that is what we're going to be doing. So we'll get started. So this is How to Hide a Crocodile and Other Reptiles by Ruth Hellers, and we're reading this with permission from Penguin Random House. There's a note from the author that says, if you take a careful look, you'll see how creatures in this book are camouflaged and out of view, although they're right in front of you. Okay. It's the usual style of the Nile crocodile to bask by a river or lake for a while, then to follow an urge to partly submerge so that all you see is this floating debris. Can you see that crocodile? Look for his eye. However strange, there is no doubt, this is a turtle with a snout. It's called a mata-mata, and it has a tube-shaped nose. It likes the river bottom, and that is where it goes. See, this animal kind of looks like a leaf on the bottom. So agile is the green tree snake that slender branches do not break, nor do the brushes quake or shake. As it weaves among the leaves. This pattern python predator lurks on the leafy jungle floor. This iguana and the tree bear similarity. If he's hidden will depend on how well their colors blend. The chameleon's disappearing act is an old established fact. You see where he is? By day, the gecko's skin is light. At night, it turns quite dark. But either way, this lizard's skin looks very much like bark. Because the world is hostile, all creatures need protection. They need to hide so thoroughly that they defy detection. So, some of them use camouflage to fade away with ease from predators who like to dine upon these predatees. But predators to live must eat, so also fade and are discreet. And then their prey, on which they soup, can't see what's going to eat them up. Okay, so I brought an animal with me that I think is a good camouflager. Let me get him. All all turtles are very good at camouflage. This is Houdini. This is our eastern box turtle. But you can think about what would make him a very good camouflager. If you look just at his color, you can see it very well. If he were to be in water, if he was a turtle that's sitting in water all day, the back of his shell might look like maybe bubbles in murky water, or maybe the crossing over of plants underneath the water. It kind of has that illusion. If he's on land, like this turtle, Houdini's favorite place is to dig himself under the dirt with his hands and feet and his nose tucked into his shell all the way. He would just kind of look like a rock in a pile of dirt, which is very good. Some of our other turtles, Houdini not so much, when you look at their front legs as well, if you were to just see his front leg out, kind of looks like a pile of tiny pebbles because they're kind of speckled. So these are a few ways that these turtles can camouflage, which is very cool. And many others can too. Full tortoises just look like bigger rocks. Some of our red-eared sliders, those are the turtles that have like a big red stripe right here and right here. Their color is perfect, the exact murky green that it needs to be to hide in a pond while they swim or to look like grass. So turtles are an awesome example of camouflage when it comes to coloring, but also shape. So that's really good. But again, just a little bit about Houdini, because he's our eastern box turtle. These turtles are native to the eastern United States, which is very, very cool. They are protected in a few states where they're not native. For example, Michigan, they're protected up by the Great Lakes. They do have them pretty readily in the wild, but they are protected because they're not native, and there aren't as many as there used to be. They're a pretty common pet. They're really, really mild-mannered, and the box turtle, again, is famous for this lip right under the neck. Most turtles, when they go inside of their shell, their toes and their nose stick out a little bit outside, but the eastern box turtle can shut the front of their box and be completely inside of their shell. So this is Houdini, and his camouflaging, again, is very good because of his color and also his form. Helps him be really well camouflaged. We can look at him up close and so you can see those colors on the back of his shell. Perfect. So this is Houdini. The next book that we're going to read is called How to Hide a Butterfly and Other Insects, and it's also by Ruth Hellers. And we are reading this book with permission also from Penguin Random House. And again, it has the same note from the author. If you take a careful look, you'll see how creatures in this book are camouflaged and out of view, although they're right in front of you. The butterfly that you see here just folds its wings. To disappear. This moth will do a different thing. It covers up each underwing so that all you can see is the bark upon a tree. The interim's feet are at both ends. To move, it stretches and it bends. Then it performs a magic trick and imitates a twig or stick. The praying mantis likes to make a sound just like a hissing snake, and it spreads its wings to scare a foe. It somehow also seems to know it won't be seen when dining, where the leaves are green. Grasshoppers leap sometimes 3 feet. And what you thought that you just saw now looks more like a bit of straw. This fly you see looks like a bee, and thereby fools its enemy. But here's a clue I'll tell you. Flies only have 1 pair of wings, while bees you see have 2. Spiders are not insects, as I'm sure you know, but this spider is a hider, and she's very, very slow to change herself to yellow and then to pink or white, depending on the flower that she decides is right, where she can wait to catch her prey and still be out of sight. Because the world is hostile, all creatures need protection. They need to hide so thoroughly that they defy detection. So some of them use camouflage to fade away with ease from predators who like to dine on these predities. But predators to live must eat, so also fade and are discreet. And then their prey on which they sup can't see who's going to eat them up. Okay.
I'll put it where you can never find it again.
Our next animal that we're going to be showing you really, really quick is our corn snake, and I'll tell you why really quick. Okay, this is a snake we've seen. This is a snake again that we've seen many, many times in the museum before. This is Reggie's, my favorite snake at the museum. And corn snakes are really awesome because they do behaviorally what some of the other animals did in the book. So when they're scared, although this color is not very easy to hide, this pink-orange is not very easy to hide, the one thing that these corn snakes do is they like to imitate other snakes. And so what they'll do is they'll take the end of their tail and they'll wrap it around. You can see that Reggie has his tail wrapped all the way around my wrist, so he has very good control of his tail. He'll wrap it around a branch and he'll shake it in an effort to try to sound like a rattlesnake and intimidate away any predators who might be interested in eating Reggie. So this is really, really cool. Reggie we can use as an example, but other tree snakes like our ball pythons at the museum have really good camouflage in that the top of their body is a distinct color. The ball pythons would be a dark brown or black, and the bottom of their body is white. So when looking at them from a bird's perspective, which would be one of their main predators, looking down at them, they kind of look like branches, and looking up, they're going to look like the sky. This is something that is also talked about with scientists as well, with trout in the river, that the bottom or the top of their body, when you look down, kind of looks like the bottom of the river because it's a darker color, and any animal that might be looking up is going to see that white belly and be thinking about the sky. So that's a really cool, common color camouflage that many animals have. This animal, we also have to talk about Reggie, because Reggie's natural color isn't actually this pink-orange color that we see. Reggie was selectively bred, meaning that breeders were looking for specific colors that they wanted her to exhibit on her skin, so they bred carefully to be able to show off those colors. These animals are naturally a dark brown, dark red, so they would be very well camouflaged in kind of our native Utah rock here. Although these snakes are not native to Utah, that is about their color. Their natural camouflage, which is where they get their name, is in corn. These snakes are native to the Midwest. And so part of the reason why they have their name is because the back of their body has really distinct scales, and it kind of looks like kernels of corn. And they're often found inside of those grain bins eating mice that would be in there trying to eat corn. And the darker colors, people say that they look kind of like that Indian corn that you would eat on Thanksgiving or just have on your table as decoration on Thanksgiving. So these are some of those natural camouflages, but again, the main thing I wanted to bring up was that behavioral camouflage, that behavioral copycat that this snake does to pretend that it's a rattlesnake, just the same way that our praying mantis was shaking its wings also to sound like a rattlesnake. Many other snakes do this too, including our corn snake here. So that's very good. If anybody has any questions about Reggie before we go, you're welcome to ask them. And again, if you're not watching this live, many are not, feel free to still ask your questions and we'll be able to respond to them in the comments when we see them. So again, thanks to everybody who came and is watching with us. Tomorrow at 11, we're going to be having a Life Science Live. So tune in for that, and it's going to be really, really good. Hope everybody is going to have a good weekend. Thank you for tuning in.